The great hall of the Galactic Union shone like a jewel floating in space. Its crystal walls shimmered with the light of 1,000 stars, reflecting every color of every world. Inside the hall, hundreds of alien leaders had gathered, their bodies glowing, scaled or feathered, each from a different planet. They had come to witness the beginning of something historic, the Interstellar Combat Tournament, a grand contest meant to test the courage and skill of the youngest warriors from every known civilization. At the center of this galaxy of power stood a single human, Eli Grant, the youngest soldier of Earth. He was only 19. His armor was plain compared to the shining suits and advanced exoskeletons worn by the others. He had no glowing weapons, no implanted upgrades, no body enhancements. Only his mind, his training, and his heart. While other warriors carried weapons powered by energy crystals, Eli's sword was simple steel forged by human hands. To many of the spectators, it looked almost ancient. Whispers moved through the alien crowd like wind through tall grass. "Is that truly a human?" one alien asked, its voice like dripping water. "They are a young species," another said. "Only a few hundred years in space. They are still learning to crawl." "Then why did the Union invite them?" a third added. "They are not ready." At the royal balcony, the Princess Alira of the Valari Empire watched quietly. She was tall and graceful, her silver eyes soft but sharp. Her golden armor reflected the light, and a crown of blue crystal rested on her brow. The Valari were one of the oldest races, wise, powerful, and proud. Alira had seen many tournaments before, but something about the human's calm face drew her attention. She turned to her advisor, an elderly Valari named Siren. "That one. The human boy," she said softly. "He does not look afraid." Siren gave a small laugh. "Humans are brave because they do not know what fear truly means, Princess. Give them time and he will learn." Alira did not reply. She simply continued to watch. When the announcement echoed across the hall, the air trembled. "First round, human warrior Eli Grant versus the Gorath enforcer of Raxos Prime." The Gorath was a towering creature covered in black armor plates. Its forearms each held a weapon, 2 plasma blades and 2 crushing gauntlets. The crowd roared with excitement, expecting the human to fall in seconds. Eli stepped into the arena. His heartbeat was steady. He bowed respectfully to his opponent before raising his sword. The Gorath laughed, its deep voice shaking the ground. "You are too small, human. I could crush you with one hand." Eli smiled lightly. "Maybe, but you'll have to catch me first." The signal blared, a beam of light flashed, and the match began. The Gorath attacked first, moving fast for its size. Its blades swung with blinding force, but Eli ducked, rolled, and sidestepped each strike. His movements were quick and light, like water flowing around stone. The crowd gasped. Few had ever seen a creature move like that. Eli waited, watching, learning the rhythm of his opponent's attack. He had trained for years in both human and alien fighting styles. His instructor had taught him one rule: if you cannot overpower them, outthink them. When the Gorath lunged again, Eli shifted sideways, grabbed a loose piece of the arena floor, and tossed it into one of the Gorath's eyes. The beast roared and stumbled, blinded for a second. Eli saw his chance. He jumped forward, sliding under one of its arms, and struck the weak spot near its leg joint. Sparks flew. The Gorath fell with a crash. The referee's voice echoed, "Victory to the human warrior." For a moment, the entire hall was silent. Then a wave of murmurs spread through the audience. Impossible. He defeated a Gorath without power armor? Humans are supposed to be weak. But Princess Alira smiled for the first time that evening. She leaned forward, her silver eyes bright with curiosity. "Interesting," she whispered. "He did not win by strength. He won by thought," her advisor frowned. "A clever trick, nothing more. He cannot survive the next round." Eli bowed to his fallen opponent before leaving the arena. Even in victory, he showed respect. The human delegation, a small group of soldiers and scientists, stood cheering proudly. Earth was still a new member of the Galactic Union, often ignored by older races. But now, for the first time, every eye in the galaxy was on them. As he walked through the corridors, Eli passed warriors from other species. Some nodded in silent approval. Others looked at him with open dislike. But he did not let it bother him. He was here to represent humanity, and he would do so with pride. Later, while resting, Eli heard a soft voice behind him. "You fight differently," it said. He turned and saw Princess Alira standing there, her presence commanding yet kind. 2 of her royal guards stood behind her. Eli bowed politely. "Your Highness." "You could have ended that match sooner," she said. "Why did you wait?" Eli smiled slightly. "Because I wanted to learn. Every opponent has a story in their moves. Once you understand it, you know how to end the fight without anger." Her eyes sparkled with amusement. Humans always trying to understand the heart before the weapon. "You are an unusual kind of warrior." Eli chuckled softly. "Maybe we just fight because we have to, not because we want to." For a moment, Alira studied him silently. Then she nodded and walked away, leaving him with more questions than answers. The second day of the tournament began, and the hall was even more crowded. Word of the human victory had spread through the station. News drones hovered everywhere, recording every move. Some spectators laughed, thinking it was a lucky win. Others whispered that perhaps humanity had more potential than anyone believed. Eli's next opponent was from the Zirak hive, a species that moved like liquid metal. The creature flowed around him, striking from every direction. Eli was forced to adapt quickly, switching from sword to short dagger, cutting where the metal thinned. It was a long, exhausting fight, but again he used observation and timing instead of brute power. When the Zirak reformed, it found Eli already behind it, blade at its core. The match ended in another human victory. Now the whispers became louder. Some aliens began to cheer for him. Others refused to accept what they saw. And in the royal balcony, Princess Alira's interest deepened. 2 victories, she said. Still no fear. Her advisor shook his head. Perhaps luck. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but their luck will end soon. She smiled faintly. Perhaps, or perhaps it has just begun. That night in his quarters, Eli looked out at the stars. He thought about Earth, the blue planet far behind him. He remembered his family, his training, and his commander's words. You are not fighting for yourself, Eli. You are fighting so the galaxy remembers that humanity deserves to stand among the stars. He clenched his fist, feeling both pride and pressure. I'll make them see, he whispered. We may be young, but we belong here. Outside his window, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if listening. Far away in her royal chambers, Princess Alira also stood at her window, looking at the same stars. She thought of the human's words, about fighting only when necessary. She wondered how a species so young could hold such wisdom in its heart. Something in her told her this was only the beginning, that this young human would change the galaxy forever. The next morning, the galactic arena buzzed with excitement. Word of Eli Grant's victories had spread like wildfire. Spectators filled every level of the stand, some cheering for the young human, others skeptical that he could survive the coming battles. Yet, despite the whispers and doubts, a quiet excitement rippled through the audience. Humans were small, new, and underestimated, but Eli had shown them they could not be ignored. From her balcony, Princess Alira watched silently, her silver eyes following every move of the human warrior. She had seen many champions in her life, many skilled and powerful, yet Eli's confidence, calmness, and intelligence set him apart. While others fought with raw power, he fought with thought. While others sought glory, he sought honor. As the announcer called the next match, Eli stepped into the arena, his sword shining under the arena lights. His next opponent was a Skarian beast warrior, a creature covered in jagged metallic scales. Its claws could tear through metal, and its eyes glowed with the light of battle lust. Most warriors would have hesitated, but Eli remained calm. The match began. The Skarian charged like a living cannon, its claws swinging and sparks flying as they hit the arena floor. Eli dodged, rolled, and struck when an opening appeared. The Skarian's strength was unmatched, but Eli's speed and intelligence kept him one step ahead. He watched the pattern of the creature's movements carefully. Every attack had a rhythm, a pattern. When the Skarian lunged again, Eli feigned left, then rolled right and grabbed a loose stone from the arena floor. He threw it with precision, striking the creature in the chest. The Skarian roared, blinded for a moment, and Eli took the chance to leap onto its back, sliding under its arm and striking a weak spot near its spine. Sparks flew and the Skarian collapsed. The crowd erupted in shock and excitement. No one had expected the human to defeat such a powerful creature. Even the other warriors looked at him with a mixture of respect and disbelief. From her balcony, Princess Alira clapped softly. She felt an unusual warmth in her chest, a sense of pride not just for Eli's victory, but for the spirit he displayed. He fought not for personal glory, but for honor, and more than that, he fought with intelligence, courage, and fairness. After the match, Eli rested in a quiet chamber behind the arena. He tended to his minor injuries, washing the sweat and dirt from his face. He had learned that the tournament was as much about endurance as skill. One wrong move could end everything. A soft voice spoke from the doorway. "You are extraordinary," it said. Eli looked up to see Princess Alira standing there. Her presence filled the room with quiet authority and grace. "I only do what I must," Eli replied, bowing respectfully. "You do more than that," she said. "You fight with thought, with respect for your opponents, and yet you never lose your focus. Most warriors are consumed by anger or pride. You are different," Eli smiled faintly. "I have learned from my teachers. They always said that a warrior must first understand the heart of the opponent. Only then can you fight wisely." Alira studied him for a moment. "And do you understand your own heart, Eli Grant?" He thought for a moment before answering. "I fight for my people, for my world. I fight to show that humans belong among the stars. But I also fight because I want to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The princess nodded slowly. Something in her recognized the truth in his words. In her long life, she had seen warriors from countless worlds, but few had carried such clarity of purpose. "Tomorrow," she said, "you will face a champion unlike any you have faced so far. The Karth Dominion sends their finest warrior. You must be ready." Eli nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. He had faced strong opponents before, but the Karth were legendary for their strength and strategy. This would be his greatest challenge yet. That night, Eli walked alone on the observation deck overlooking the galaxy. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, and he felt both small and significant at the same time. He thought about Earth, about the people who had trained him, and about the responsibility he carried. Princess Alira appeared beside him, her silver hair catching the starlight. "You seem calm," she said. "I have to be," Eli replied. "Tomorrow will test me more than anything I have faced. If I fail, humans will be seen as weak. But if I succeed—" He hesitated. "If I succeed, maybe we can prove that even the youngest species can stand among the oldest." Alira smiled faintly. "You carry not just your sword, but the hopes of an entire species. That is a heavy burden for someone so young." "I know," Eli said, "but I will not let them down." She looked at him thoughtfully. "Your courage is remarkable. But remember, strength alone is not enough. Sometimes the greatest victories are won not by force, but by understanding and patience." Eli nodded. Her words echoed in his mind as he prepared for sleep. Tomorrow would be a turning point. He could feel it. The next day, the arena was filled to capacity. The Karth champion Vorak the Titan entered first. He was massive, standing nearly 3 meters tall, his armor glowing with energy channels. The crowd gasped at his appearance, and many whispered that the human would not survive a single minute. Eli entered the arena calmly. He held his sword in his hand, his eyes fixed on Vorak. The air was thick with tension as the two warriors faced each other. Vorak struck first, swinging a massive hammer-like weapon. The force of the blow shook the arena floor. Eli rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding being crushed. The Titan struck again, faster than expected, but Eli had anticipated the movement. He dodged and struck at a weak joint in the armor. Sparks flew and a crack appeared, but Vorak remained standing. The battle continued, both warriors pushing each other to the limit. Eli used every skill he had learned: agility, strategy, observation, and clever improvisation. He could not match the Titan's strength, but he could outthink him, finding small openings and exploiting them. Princess Alira watched from above, her heart racing. She could see the determination in Eli's eyes, the focus and respect for his opponent. She realized that this human was not fighting for pride, wealth, or glory. He was fighting for honor and for his people. Finally, after a grueling struggle, Eli saw an opening. Vorak raised his massive weapon to strike once more, but Eli leaped onto a nearby platform, using the momentum to slide behind him. With a precise strike, he struck the Titan's armor at a vulnerable spot, and Vorak stumbled, falling to the ground with a heavy crash. The arena erupted in stunned silence, then roars of excitement. The youngest human had defeated one of the galaxy's most feared warriors. From her balcony, Princess Alira stood and clapped slowly, her expression proud. "Remarkable," she whispered. "He truly is extraordinary." After the match, Eli walked to the princess's chambers where she awaited him. She extended her hand. "You have proven yourself not just as a warrior, but as a being of honor. I have rarely seen such courage in one so young." Eli bowed. "Thank you, princess. Your words mean more than any victory." She smiled. "The galaxy is watching. You have made humans visible for the first time among the stars. Many may not like it, but they cannot deny it." Eli nodded, feeling a quiet sense of pride. He had not come this far for recognition, but it was comforting to know that his people were being seen. "Rest now," Alira said. "Tomorrow the final rounds will begin. The true test is yet to come." Eli left the room, his mind racing with thoughts of strategy and survival. But deep inside he also felt a spark of something new. A connection. Not just with the princess, but with the possibilities that awaited humanity among the stars. Outside, the stars twinkled as if encouraging him, and somewhere, in the distant reaches of the galaxy, the stories of the young human warrior had already begun to spread. The arena was quiet except for the distant hum of stars beyond the crystal walls. Word had spread across the galaxy. The youngest human warrior, Eli Grant, had defeated both the Scarian beast warrior and the titan of the Karth Dominion. Aliens whispered in disbelief, some mocking, others cautiously respectful. But now the stage was set for the ultimate challenge. At the center of the arena stood General Korthal, the undefeated warlord of the Dominion. Towering over almost every competitor in the Union's history, Korthal had never known defeat. His armor gleamed black and crimson, etched with victories from countless worlds. His eyes, like molten gold, scanned the arena, measuring every detail. Eli entered with calm determination. His armor was scratched from previous battles, but his posture remained steady. The human soldiers who had traveled with him watched nervously from the sidelines. None could imagine how their youngest warrior might survive this encounter. The announcer's voice rang out across the hall. "Final match. Champion of the Karth Dominion versus human warrior Eli Grant, begin." Korthal raised his massive warhammer. The floor shook as he stepped forward, each step echoing like thunder. Eli held his sword tightly, his mind racing, analyzing the warlord's movements, trying to find even the smallest opening. The first strike came like a comet. Korthal swung his hammer with the force of a falling star. Eli barely rolled aside, feeling the wind from the blow brush against his face. The arena floor cracked under the impact. Every spectator held their breath. Eli dodged, slid, and leaped, keeping his distance. He had no way to match Korthal's raw power. But humans had a gift the other species often overlooked: adaptability and cunning. Eli observed the warlord carefully, noticing the rhythm in his swings, the slight hesitation before he used his strongest moves. The battle continued, each strike shaking the arena, sparks flying from sword and hammer. Korthal roared, frustrated at the human's speed and unpredictability. Eli struck when he saw an opening, but his attacks barely scratched the Titan's armor. Still, he did not retreat.
He stayed calm, keeping his focus.
Every movement, every dodge, every feint was calculated. From her balcony, Princess Alira's heart raced. She had watched many battles in her life, but this one was different. She saw not just skill, but human courage in its purest form. Eli fought not to dominate, but to survive and to prove his people's worth. Korthal paused, glaring at Eli. "You are brave, human. But bravery alone cannot defeat me." Eli wiped a streak of sweat from his brow. "I do not fight you because I am not afraid," he said quietly. "I fight because I must." The Titan laughed, a deep sound that shook the stands. "Then face me fully and meet your end." Korthal charged with renewed speed, swinging his hammer in wide arcs, trying to crush Eli with one devastating blow. Eli rolled, ducked, and used his surroundings, leaping onto a low platform and sliding behind the warlord. He struck at a weak joint near Korthal's leg. Sparks flew, and the Titan growled in anger. The audience gasped. Some had never seen such boldness, especially from a human. Others shook their heads, convinced this was the end. Eli ran, dodged, and kept Korthal moving, forcing the Titan to waste energy with every swing. He could not win by strength, but by endurance, observation, and precision, he could survive long enough to find an opening. Hours seemed to pass in the arena. Neither combatant yielded. Eli's muscles ached, and his sword grew heavier with each strike. Korthal's breathing was deep and slow, the calmness of experience, yet frustration burned in his eyes. He had never faced an opponent who fought not out of anger, but with intelligence and patience. Princess Alira watched, leaning forward, her heart pounding. She thought of her empire, her people, and the history of the Galactic Union. This battle was more than a contest of strength. It was a statement. Humanity was no longer a newborn species. They had courage, intelligence, and resilience, all qualities that could change the galaxy. Suddenly, Eli noticed a small weakness. When Korthal swung his hammer from the left, he left a small opening near the back of his armor, a momentary lapse from fatigue. Eli took a deep breath and focused. This was his chance. He feinted to the right, dodging another powerful strike, then rolled beneath the warlord's hammer. With a precise, calculated movement, he struck the weak point with his sword. Sparks flew. Korthal stumbled, then fell heavily to the arena floor. Silence swept the crowd like a cold wind. For a moment, no one moved. Aliens froze in disbelief. The warlord, who had never been defeated, was down. And it was a human who had bested him. Eli stood, chest heaving, sword in hand. He could barely believe it himself. But he did not celebrate. He did not boast. He simply bowed respectfully to Korthal, who slowly rose and looked at the human with a mixture of respect and astonishment. Princess Alira stood, her voice ringing through the arena. Victory to Eli Grant, the human warrior. The hall erupted in applause, cheers, and even some stunned silence. Humans in the crowd hugged each other, tears in their eyes. They had watched one of their own prove that humanity could stand tall among the stars. The Karth general, though defeated, approached Eli. You fight with honor, human. You have my respect, Eli nodded humbly. Thank you. I only fight to protect and prove that my people belong here. Alira descended to the arena floor, her robes flowing behind her. She stepped before Eli and raised her hand. I declare, she said, her voice firm and proud, that this young warrior, who has shown courage, honor, and wisdom, belongs to the Valari Empire and to me. A hush fell across the arena. In Valari tradition, the princess's words were binding. By declaring a warrior as hers, she was claiming not possession, but a partnership of trust, respect, and protection. Eli's eyes widened. He bowed deeply. Princess, I accept. But I do not belong to anyone as a servant. I will stand beside you as your ally and protector. Alira smiled warmly. Then stand proudly, human. Together we will show the galaxy that strength is not only measured by power, but by courage, heart, and unity. The crowd erupted once more, not in anger or mockery, but in awe and admiration. Across the stands, leaders of various species whispered that perhaps they had underestimated humans all along. Later, as the arena emptied, Princess Alira walked with Eli along the corridors of the Galactic Union. You have done more than win battles, she said. You have changed the way the galaxy sees your people. They cannot ignore you now. Eli nodded, exhaustion in his bones but pride in his heart. I only did what I had to do, but I am glad that humans are finally being seen. Alira looked at him thoughtfully. And yet the galaxy is only beginning to understand. There are challenges ahead, darkness that seeks to divide us, but you have shown that one human, even the youngest, can make a difference. Perhaps more than one can. Eli smiled faintly. Then we will fight together, Princess. We will face whatever comes and we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. The princess nodded. Yes. Together we will make sure that humanity's voice is heard among the stars. As they stood side by side, looking out at the galaxy from the highest balcony, it seemed as if the stars themselves recognized a new chapter beginning. One where humans were no longer ignored, no longer underestimated. The story of Eli Grant, the youngest human warrior, had begun. And with Princess Alira's declaration, the galaxy would never forget it. The Galactic Union had never seen a scene like this. Word of Eli Grant's victories over the greatest warriors of the galaxy had spread far and wide. The arena, usually reserved for combat, had been transformed into a grand hall for the official declaration of the champion. Leaders from every known species had gathered, some curious, some skeptical, all eager to witness the event that had stirred the galaxy. Eli stood at the center of the hall, his armor slightly worn from the battles but his posture proud and steady. His sword rested lightly in his hand, a symbol not only of his skill but of his honor. Despite the cheers and whispers, his mind was calm. He had faced his greatest opponent, survived, and proven that humans, though young in the galaxy, had the courage and wisdom to stand among the oldest civilizations. At the top of the grand steps, Princess Alira stood, her golden armor gleaming, her crown of blue crystal sparkling in the light. Every eye in the hall turned toward her. The Valerie princess had long been known for her wisdom, her elegance, and her fair judgment. Today she was about to make a decision that would echo across worlds. Her voice rang out clearly, cutting through the murmurs. Leaders of the Galactic Union, warriors of every species, and citizens of the galaxy. Today we have witnessed something extraordinary. A young human warrior has proven himself in combat against the mightiest of champions. He has fought with courage, honor, and intelligence and has earned a place in history. The hall fell silent. Even the most skeptical leaders watched carefully. Humans had long been considered inexperienced, unpredictable, and unproven. But Eli's victories had shattered these assumptions. Alira's silver eyes scanned the crowd before returning to Eli. In the traditions of the Valari Empire, when a warrior proves such extraordinary skill and honor, the ruling princess has the right to declare the warrior as her champion, not as a servant, not as property, but as a symbol of trust, alliance, and protection. She stepped forward closer to Eli and raised her hand. I hereby declare before all the worlds and all the leaders gathered here, the youngest human warrior, Eli Grant, belongs to me, not in bondage, but as a partner, as a protector of my people, and as a symbol of the new strength that humans bring to the galaxy. A hush fell over the hall. No one had expected this. Many gasped while others stared in disbelief. By Valeri tradition, the princess's words were binding. What she had declared was not only legal, it was a statement of unity and respect. Eli felt a mix of surprise, pride, and humility. He bowed deeply, lowering his sword to the floor. Princess Alira, I accept your declaration, but I do not belong as a servant. I stand beside you as your ally, your protector, and your friend. I will fight with honor, not for ownership, but for justice and peace. The princess smiled, a proud and genuine smile. Then stand proudly, human. Together we will show the galaxy that courage, heart, and unity matter more than strength or age. The crowd erupted into applause. Some cheered for the Valari princess, others for the human warrior, and many for the idea that humans could now be recognized as equals among the stars. Later, away from the crowd, Alira and Eli walked together along the balcony overlooking the endless stars. The light from distant galaxies reflected on the crystal floor, casting long, shimmering shadows. You have changed more than just the tournament, Alira said softly. You have changed the way the galaxy sees humanity. They can no longer dismiss your people as weak or inexperienced. They have seen what courage and intelligence can accomplish, even in the youngest species. Eli looked at her, feeling a quiet pride. I only did what I had to do, but I am glad that humans are being recognized. Perhaps now we can show that we are worthy of trust, respect, and friendship among the stars. Alira nodded. You have more than proven yourself. You have shown them something that cannot be measured by armor, weapons, or technology. You have shown them heart, courage, and honor. The human warrior smiled faintly. Then I will continue to fight, princess. Not for glory, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves, and to ensure that humans are remembered not for weakness, but for what we can achieve. Back in the Grand Hall, the alien leaders gathered to discuss the declaration. Some were skeptical. How can a human belong to a princess? One of the older leaders asked. Their species is too young. This is a mistake, another spoke, perhaps, but he fought honorably. He did not cheat, did not beg for mercy, and did not surrender. This cannot be denied. From the balcony, Princess Alira's voice echoed, It is not a mistake. Strength is not measured only by size, age, or power. It is measured by courage, intelligence, and the willingness to stand for what is right. Eli Grant has shown all of these qualities. He is a warrior, worthy of recognition, respect, and partnership. Her words resonated through the hall. Even those who had doubted humans could no longer ignore the evidence. The young human warrior was more than a soldier. He was a symbol of hope, resilience, and the rise of a species that had long been underestimated. As the days passed, Eli and Princess Alira spent more time together, not just in the arena but in strategy sessions, training, and learning about each other's worlds. She taught him about Valari history, diplomacy, and leadership. He taught her about Earth, human creativity, and the ways humans solved problems using ingenuity rather than power alone. Their bond grew stronger. What had begun as admiration and curiosity became trust and mutual respect. Eli respected her wisdom, her fairness, and her courage. Alira admired his intelligence, his humility, and his unwavering courage. Together they represented something new in the galaxy, a partnership between old and young civilizations, between experience and innovation. The other species began to notice the change. Humans, once ignored, now received invitations to councils, missions, and alliances, and though some still doubted, they could no longer deny that humanity had a role to play in the galaxy's future. One evening, as they watched the stars from the observation deck, Alira spoke softly. "Eli, you have not just won battles. You have changed perceptions, inspired hope, and reminded the galaxy that even the smallest voice can echo across worlds." Eli looked at the stars and then at her. "We can do more, Princess. Together, humans and Valari, and perhaps others who are willing, can protect the galaxy. We can fight against injustice, defend those who cannot defend themselves, and show that courage and honor are stronger than fear or prejudice." Alira smiled. "Yes, and your victories are only the beginning. There will be more challenges, more threats, but with your courage and the trust between us, we can face anything." The story of Eli Grant and Princess Alira began to spread beyond the halls of the Union. Hollow transmissions showed the young human standing beside the princess, victorious and proud. Children across countless worlds looked up to him, inspired by his courage and wisdom. Humans were no longer seen as weak or unproven. They were recognized as a species with heart, determination, and the ability to rise above any obstacle. Eli understood the responsibility he carried. He had not only represented himself but his entire species. He had proven that humans, though young, could stand beside the galaxy's oldest civilizations. And now, as a partner to Princess Alira, he had the opportunity to show what humans could truly achieve. The princess, standing beside him, placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. "Together," she said softly, "we will show the galaxy the future humans can build, not through force but through courage, honor, and unity." Eli nodded. "Then let us begin." And so, with the princess's declaration, humanity had found its place among the stars. The youngest human warrior had not only proven his own worth, but had opened the door for an entire species to rise and be recognized. The galaxy watched, amazed as history was being written, not just by the strongest or the oldest, but by the brave, the intelligent, and the honorable. Months had passed since the tournament, and the story of Eli Grant, the youngest human warrior, had spread across the galaxy. His victories had not only proven his own skill, but had shown that humanity, once overlooked, could stand proudly among the stars. From distant planets to the halls of the Galactic Union, humans were now being recognized as equals, and sometimes even as heroes. Eli's life had changed dramatically. No longer just a soldier of Earth, he had become a symbol of courage, wisdom, and honor. He traveled with Princess Alira, attending councils, missions, and gatherings of alien leaders. Together, they worked to maintain peace, resolve conflicts, and protect the weak across the galaxy. The Valari princess had officially claimed him as her champion. Yet, as always, their bond was not one of control or dominance. It was a partnership based on trust, respect, and shared purpose. Wherever Alira went, Eli went, standing not behind her as a subordinate, but beside her as a partner and protector. One morning, the news arrived of a looming threat. The Draxian Raiders, a warlike coalition from the outer sectors, had begun attacking small, defenseless planets. Entire colonies were at risk. These raiders were brutal and efficient, preying on those who could not defend themselves. Eli and Princess Alira convened a council of allied species to discuss the threat. The leaders argued, debated, and sometimes dismissed humanity as inexperienced. But Alira remained firm. "Do not underestimate them," she said. "Humanity may be young, but they have courage and intelligence. We have seen what one human warrior can achieve. Imagine what a united force can do." Eli stood quietly, letting the princess speak. He knew that the victories of the past had changed perceptions. But this was the moment to show that humans were capable not only of surviving, but of leading and protecting. The fleet moved swiftly toward the Draxian territory. Eli commanded a squad of human and Valari warriors, alongside allies from other species who had learned to trust his judgment. The enemy was larger, more experienced and aggressive, but Eli's mind was sharp. He devised strategies that took advantage of the terrain, the strengths of his allies, and the weaknesses of the Draxian forces. The battle began on a rocky, asteroid-covered planet. Draxian ships and warriors descended with firepower and aggression, expecting an easy victory. But Eli anticipated every move. He positioned his forces in narrow passes and used the terrain to neutralize the enemy's numbers. Every decision, every strike, and every maneuver reflected human ingenuity and adaptability. When the first Draxian commander charged, Eli met him with both sword and strategy. He dodged, anticipated, and countered, while coordinating his allies to surround and overwhelm the enemy. Slowly but surely, the tide turned. During the battle, Princess Alira observed from the command ship. She watched as Eli directed the fight with intelligence and courage. Unlike many leaders, he did not stay safely behind. He moved among the warriors, giving advice, encouragement, and fighting alongside them when needed. She felt a deep sense of pride. This young human had become more than a warrior. He was a leader, a protector, and an inspiration. His actions showed that humanity's strength was not in raw power or advanced technology, but in resilience, creativity, and determination. By the end of the battle, the Draxian raiders had been defeated, their ships destroyed or captured, their leaders subdued, and their forces in retreat. The planets that had been threatened were safe, and the allied species now looked to humans with respect and admiration. Eli stood on the surface of the battlefield, bloodied and exhausted, but proud. He looked at the stars above and thought of Earth, his family, and his people. Humanity had proven it could rise not as conquerors, but as protectors. In the months that followed, Eli and Princess Alira traveled to numerous worlds, resolving disputes and preventing conflicts. Humanity became known for its diplomacy, courage, and ingenuity. Young warriors trained alongside humans, inspired by their determination. Children on distant worlds told stories of the young human warrior and the Valeri princess, dreaming that they too could stand proudly among the stars. Despite the growing recognition, Eli remained humble. He did not seek glory, wealth, or power. Instead, he focused on what he had always valued: justice, protection, and honor. He taught others that true strength was measured not by size or weaponry, but by courage, wisdom, and the willingness to act for what is right. Princess Alira often remarked on his humility. "You carry the weight of your people," she said one evening, "and yet you never let it make you arrogant. That is a rare quality in any warrior." Eli smiled softly. "I fight not for myself, but for everyone who cannot fight for themselves. If I am remembered, let it be for what humanity can do, not for what I alone have achieved." Years passed, and humanity's presence among the stars grew. Humans became trusted allies, teachers, and leaders in interstellar councils. They were no longer the young, overlooked species that the galaxy had once doubted. Their courage and ingenuity had earned them a place among the greatest civilizations. Eli continued to serve as a protector and ambassador. But more than that, he had become a symbol of hope. Wherever injustice threatened, wherever the weak were endangered, stories of his bravery inspired both humans and aliens alike. The young warrior who had once been underestimated now stood as a beacon of courage, showing that even the smallest or youngest can change the galaxy. Princess Alira remained by his side, their bond unbreakable. Together they traveled the stars, facing dangers, making allies, and teaching others the values that had guided Eli since his earliest days: courage, honor, and compassion. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set over a peaceful planet, Alira spoke softly. "Do you realize, Eli, how far you have come? From the tournament arena to the protector of worlds, the youngest human warrior has changed the course of history." Eli gazed at the horizon, thinking of all the battles, the victories, and the lives he had touched. "I did not do it alone. Every human who fought, every ally who trusted me, every friend who stood by my side. We all made this possible. And with you, Princess, I have learned even more about courage, wisdom, and leadership." Alira smiled, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. "Then let us continue side by side. Humanity has only begun to show the galaxy what it can achieve, and together we will ensure that courage, honor, and unity are never forgotten." Eli nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the joy of purpose. Together, they had proven that even the youngest and smallest can rise to greatness. That courage and heart can surpass fear and prejudice, and that unity among diverse species could protect and inspire the galaxy. As the stars twinkled above the legend of Eli Grant, the youngest human warrior, and Princess Alira, the Valari princess, became immortal. Across countless worlds, children told stories of their courage. Leaders remembered their wisdom. And the galaxy learned that humanity, though young, had the power to rise, shine, and protect the future of all beings. The youngest human warrior had not only proven his own worth, he had lifted humanity onto the stars, forever changing how the galaxy would see them. And standing proudly beside the princess, he knew that this was only the beginning.